This video is meant to help you better understand this assignment sheet for our first formal essay for the class. So our first formal essay for the class is entitled Consumer Artifact Analysis Essay. And so this is the culminating assignment for our first unit focused on consumer America. And so this essay will be due towards the end of our first unit in about a month. So let's take a look at some of the details here to get a better understanding of this assignment as we begin our process. So I'm just going to go ahead and read the description of the assignment here just to hear it out loud, and we can talk about a couple of the details. The United States has a consumer-driven economy. As such, American culture has been and continues to be deeply influenced by the things we consume. These artifacts of consumption have gone beyond simply performing a function or satisfying a need. They both reflect and influence what we do, what we think, and who we are as individuals, as members of communities, and as a society. In their essay, Consuming Passions, The Culture of American Consumption, your editors state that our possessions aren't simply objects, they're signs, from the out-and-out status symbols whose purpose is to convey your place in the social hierarchy, to the clothes you wear, the music you listen to, and even the smartphone you choose to buy, all of which convey to others what sort of person you are and what your values may be. As such, these artifacts of consumption are full of cultural significance and meaning, just waiting to be analyzed. So for this first formal essay assignment, you will write a thesis-driven essay that focuses on persuading your audience of the social or cultural significance of a consumer artifact, a physical or digital object that someone can buy within the American popular culture. The semiotic method will be a useful tool to find the cultural significance of your artifact. By placing your artifact within a system of other signs, you can determine what meaning your artifact has within that system. In reading the introduction to Signs of Life, Popular Signs, Everything You Always Knew About American Culture But Nobody Asked, and the introduction to the third chapter, Consuming Passions, The Culture of American Consumption, we can see how an astute analysis of such an artifact can lead us from an object's denotation, its function, to its connotation, its cultural meaning. Such analysis can tell us something about ourselves, our communities, and American society. So what we're going to be doing for this assignment, as this brief description states, is we are going to be choosing some consumer artifact. In other words, something that we buy, something that is bought. Now, like it says, it can be an actual literal object, which is usually the case for this assignment. But it could also be a digital object. So it could be, for example, like a streaming service subscription would be an example, or maybe a video game that you downloaded. These kinds of things could also work for this assignment. So again, what we're trying to do here for this assignment is to analyze this object, whatever object that we choose, analyze it for its cultural significance and meaning. And what this means is trying to better understand, what does this object say to others? What does it signify to others about the person who buys it, about the person who uses it, maybe about the community that uses it, that you find it most often in, or even about all of American society. So it could be something like, well, what values does this particular object suggest about who we are? How does it identify us? What does it say about us when somebody sees us with it? It could also be focused on the significance or the impact of this object, how significant it has been on society or on our daily lives. That could also be the focus of the paper. So we're going to be getting into more about how you choose your topic and what you do once you have your topic in terms of your analysis, using semiotics, how does that move into a thesis-driven paper, etc. How do we support our ideas, etc. Throughout the course of this first essay. We will be taking our time with this, moving through a series of steps. And so again, don't be overwhelmed by this first discussion or first introduction to this assignment. We'll have plenty of time to start to understand what it means and how to go about doing this assignment. So for now, though, let's continue on and take a look at a couple of the other details for this assignment. So like it says here, you will have to have a minimum number of words for the assignment, very much like our discussion assignment so far. But because this is a formal essay and we are taking our time with it, that minimum will be significantly more than a discussion assignment. And we have that number here, 1,200 words in length. So this is the minimum number of words that you have to have in your essay in order to qualify for a passing grade. So once you're over that 1,200 word mark, then your essay will then be graded or assessed based on its quality. So you have to get over that 1,200. Now, like it says here, the essay, when we start to think about the length of the essay, how much space you have to present and support your ideas, we have 1,200 to 1,800. So keep in mind that the minimum is 1,200 words, but the idea is to go past that, especially if you feel like you need to. So we're thinking in terms of a 1,200 to 1,800 word essay, or 4 to 6 pages, if that helps understand what those numbers mean. Okay, so if we take a look at our due dates, we do have 2 due dates for this assignment. We have a rough draft deadline and a final draft deadline. And I have those 2 dates here in orange. So Wednesday, September 15th and Wednesday, September 22nd. So if we take a look at that, specifically that second deadline, September 22nd, again, that suggests that we have a month to work on this assignment. So we've got some time. And each week we'll be focusing on a step of the process as we move through this assignment and head towards those deadlines. So we talked a little bit about the kind of topic that you can have. This is just to reiterate here that you can choose any object that you want. So this is your choice. You can choose whatever consumer artifact you would like to focus on, but again, it has to be one object and it has to be a consumer artifact, something that you bought. The next section here just again goes over the fact that we will be putting this paper through a series of steps. So each week I will have an assignment for you that is connected to the formal essay, and that assignment will be a step in our writing process. So we will take this through step by step to make the process of writing this paper easier, less stressful, and then the idea is at the end of this process, because you put work in every week, it ends up being a substantial amount of work by the end, and your paper benefits from that. Your final product will be much better if you take your time and move it through every step of the process. It's really what this class is about, is to teach you various strategies during the writing process to help your papers in general get better. So for this particular class, I am requiring you to go through every step of our process, but the idea is hopefully that through this experimentation with this particular writing process that you come to a realization that some of these steps, maybe even all of these steps, are worth your time, and that you take them with you in your next class, whatever assignment, next writing assignment you have in your next class next semester. Hopefully you will decide for yourself that some of the steps of the writing process that we work on this semester will continue to work for your writing assignments in the future. The rest of this is just going over some of the further details. It is going to be a thesis-driven essay, and so you will have to have one specific idea about your consumer artifact and its social and cultural significance that you will base your paper on, and everything in that paper will work to support that one idea about your artifact. And if it does, then the paper is said to have strong unity, nice connections between everything. Your ideas are connected to each other, they're connected to your evidence, and they're all connected back and support your thesis. This also suggests that, again, your paper is going to be focused on a single idea. And so your goal here, at least with the paper itself, is not to give us everything that your artifact represents, but just one thing that one social and cultural significant idea that your artifact represents, and then to work to support it in your thesis. But again, that's the paper. That's ultimately the paper itself. Early on in the process, as we will see, you're going to be doing some broad analysis, but at some point, trying to figure out everything, trying to find everything, but at some point you will have to decide ultimately what your paper will be focused on, and that will be your thesis statement. But more on thesis next week. This section here states that you will be asked to bring in at least 2 outside sources as part of the evidence for your paper. And so we will be focusing in on research, how you do research, where you go for quality sources, how you analyze sources, how you bring them in effectively into your writing, how you cite them correctly. That's a really big part of our development this semester. And so we will be beginning it here on this very first formal essay. So just in the back of your mind, we'll talk more about this as the process goes along, but keep in mind at this early stage that we will be bringing outside sources as part of this assignment. And then the rest of this just goes over some of the requirements for the rough draft. The rough draft is an important part of this process. As it states in your syllabus, as well as on the rough draft discussion in a couple of weeks, you are required to produce a rough draft about a week out from the final draft for a variety of reasons, and there will be some consequences if you can't hit that deadline. But really the deadline is meant to assist you in your process, to allow you the necessary time to get some feedback from myself, from the Reading and Writing Center, from your classmates, and also some time to really analyze and evaluate your paper to make sure it's as effective and as error-free as possible. There's some formatting concerns here. So we are following the Modern Language Association formatting and citing system because we are a humanities class. And so the MLA system does require some formatting. And so it's listed here. But we'll talk more about that as we go along in the process. Same thing with the rough draft. We've got some details on the final draft requirements as well. So again, we'll talk more about that as we get closer. All right, everybody. This was, again, just the assignment sheet for the first formal essay for the class. This assignment sheet is available on our home page, as well as in this module and in every module for this unit. So there will be plenty of opportunities to take a look back at this really important resource, and I highly recommend that you return to this page throughout the process just to remind you of what the essay is asking you to do, and then also some of the requirements for the assignment. Thank you, everyone, and good luck this week with the first step of the process.